You don't need 100 different strategies. You don't need the perfect morning routine, a new productivity hack, or another motivational speech. What you need is one thing: a shift in the way you handle discomfort. Because the very thing you keep avoiding, that's exactly where the breakthrough lies. Change doesn't begin when you create a vision board or meticulously map out your goals. It starts in the seemingly insignificant, everyday moments. The ones you overlook, the moment your mind whispers, "Not today," and you silently agree. That split second is the gatekeeper between the life you have and the life you want, and most people walk right past it without even realizing. Instead, they look for shortcuts, clarity, or some divine sign telling them it's time. But deep down, they already know what needs to be done. You know, the conversation you've been postponing, the habit you promised to fix next week, the project you abandoned the second it got challenging. These delays aren't random. They're patterns, unconscious cycles running your life. And the more you hesitate, the more you reinforce the idea that you're not ready, not capable, or that someday will magically fix everything. But here's the raw truth. No one says out loud. Life doesn't respond to what you think. It responds to what you do. That doesn't mean you have to grind endlessly or become an emotionless machine. It means moving forward even when it's inconvenient. Speaking up even when it's uncomfortable. Taking action even when fear tries to paralyze you. Because that's when everything shifts. That's when your life starts bending in a new direction. And the irony? Most people don't realize that everything they seek, confidence, purpose, clarity, only comes after they take that first uncomfortable step, not before. That moment of action rewires something deep within, and once you do it, you'll see the illusion for what it is. The real reason you've been stuck isn't because you need more time, it's because you need more honesty. You're not trapped. You're just postponing the one decision that would set you free. Most people spend their lives outsourcing their power. They wait for motivation, the right mood, or some external validation. They act like they need permission from the universe, waiting for a signal that says, "Okay, now you're allowed to change." But here's the truth. That moment never comes. Because it was never the universe's job. It was always yours. There's something liberating about deciding you're done negotiating with your excuses. You stop dressing them up with logic. You stop making them seem reasonable. And suddenly, without warning, your life accelerates. Not because everything becomes easier, but because you're no longer the one slowing it down. The resistance you feel when taking action, that's not a sign to stop. That's the weight you're supposed to push against. It's like gravity for personal growth. And the more you lean into it, the stronger you get. Think about it. When you finally do that thing you've been avoiding, you feel lighter. Not because the task changed, but because you did. You stepped into discomfort instead of running from it. You proved to yourself that you're not controlled by old fears or outdated narratives. You're not just someone who wants change. You're someone who makes it happen. And the world responds differently to people like that. At first, the changes are subtle. People start listening to you more. You stop over-explaining yourself. Your boundaries become sharper. You stop leaking energy into things that don't serve you. You say no without guilt and yes without hesitation. Not because you're pretending to be confident, but because you've earned the right to trust yourself. That's what people don't talk about enough. Self-trust isn't built through wishful thinking. It's built through action. By showing up when you'd rather check out. By doing the thing even when your voice shakes. Even when it's awkward, even when no one is watching. That's how change becomes your new baseline. And once you make that first move, everything shifts. That conversation you were afraid to have, that decision you kept delaying, It doesn't just free up space in your life, it rebuilds your identity. You're no longer the person who hesitates. You're the one who moves. When something isn't working, your instinct is probably to analyze it to death. You sit there, lost in thought, hoping that if you just understand the problem a little better, you'll finally fix it. But clarity doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from doing. You don't think your way into change. You move your way into it. That means making the uncomfortable choice before it feels logical. Taking the call, starting the project, showing up to the gym, cleaning your space, saying what needs to be said, not because it's exciting, but because it's the next step. That's where momentum begins. In the small decisions that break the loop you're stuck in. And here's the irony. Your life doesn't improve in one giant leap. It improves through 100 tiny shifts. Waking up without snoozing your alarm. Drinking water before coffee. Taking 5 minutes to check in with yourself and realize you've been ignoring your own burnout. Most people wait for a grand moment to change their lives. But those moments are built in silence. Through the small choices no one notices. The hardest part is accepting that no one is coming to rescue you. But the empowering part? No one needs to. You don't need another strategy. You don't need a guru. You need to interrupt your own cycle long enough to realize it was never you that was broken. It was the habit of hesitation that kept you stuck. And when you start taking action before you feel ready, everything shifts. You feel less drained. Not because your life gets easier, but because your decisions get clearer. You stop avoiding discomfort. You move through it. And you become the kind of person who doesn't overthink every step. You just take it. That version of you already exists. You've seen glimpses of them. You felt moments of clarity where you knew exactly what needed to be done. The only difference is whether or not you act on it. Because nothing changes until you do. Transformation isn't dramatic. It's not fireworks or a cinematic montage. More often, it looks like brushing your teeth every night without skipping. Like choosing silence over scrolling. Like realizing in the middle of a thought, wait, I don't have to believe this story. It's quiet. It's subtle. And that's why most people miss it. They don't feel immediate progress, so they assume there is none. But that's just old conditioning talking. The mind craves instant proof. But real power? It comes from doing the right thing even when there's no applause, no dopamine hit, no external validation. Because the second you do that, you become unstoppable. The moment you stop waiting for motivation, for perfect timing, for permission, you reclaim your life. No more starting over every Monday. No more outsourcing your decisions to moods or circumstances. It begins now. Not because you're fully ready, but because you finally understand that waiting is just another way of staying the same. And you're done with that.